Hey everyone, and welcome to What Did I Miss?, where today I'll be breaking down the 5th episode of the final season of Star Trek Discovery, titled Mirrors. Without a doubt, the most interesting aspect of Star Trek Discovery is that the show has existed both before and after most of the events that fans of the franchise know and love. Because of this, the audience is able to gain more context about these experiences and characters, even when they are not shown on screen. In many ways, this episode of Discovery existed in both the past and the future, as Burnham and Booker met the season's villains on the Mirror Universe version of the USS Enterprise. There, they not only discovered the next clue on their adventure, but also learned more about an alien race that has mystified Star Trek fans for decades. But before I get into my review, I just want to thank you for clicking on this video and ask that if you do enjoy it, to please hit that like button. So first, I will go into my review, and then I will cover all the Easter eggs that I saw. Time codes are listed below in the comments. All in all, I thought this was a pretty good middle-of-the-road episode for this season. We are in the 5th episode, so this is the middle of the season. In this episode, the audience saw the story move along with the discovery of the next clue, but also learned more about the characters involved. Continually going on fetch quests to get the next thing can get monotonous, so adding the extra dimension of learning about both La'ak and Maul's past was smart. And I have started to feel like that, like it starts to feel kind of like a video game or something where every week is just the next adventure where we're going on to the next thing. I like the change of pace where like every episode we're going to a different place and it still seems like they're continuing to do that. But just continually going to the next trinket and not really spending any time talking about why this trinket is important. I know in this episode, Burnham took a second and discussed why they were able to find each clue and that there was a meaning behind them. But I feel like that gets kind of lost and it just turns into an adventure of the week. And that's fine. But again, when you keep doing it over and over again, now we're in the 5th episode, it starts to get like, this is just what we're doing every week. And it gets less and less interesting every week. It was also smart to add the ISS Enterprise into the story. For one, the crew, meaning the production crew that works on Star Trek Discovery, does not have to create a new set because they just used a modified version of the set that Strange New Worlds uses. So Strange New Worlds was not filming while Star Trek Discovery was filming the season, so they were able to sneak in, film what they wanted to in that set, and then get out before the Strange New Worlds crew was back in. But bringing back any Enterprise will always make fans happy, and since the new USS Enterprise under Christopher Pike debuted on Discovery, it is cool that we got to also see its mirror counterpart. I don't know if you know this, but when the Enterprise first debuted on Discovery, I don't think it was a new set. I think it was kind of a redress of the bridge of the Discovery set, and the Enterprise didn't get its own set until they started filming Strange New Worlds. So now, again, it's kind of full circle. Now it's coming back, and that set is being used as a set on Discovery instead of Discovery just reusing a set for the Enterprise. I also like that we finally got to see not just what the Breen actually look like, but I also like their updated look. So a lot of people have said, you know, when they first debuted on DS9, they kind of look like Princess Leia's character at the beginning of Return of the Jedi when she goes to save Han Solo from Jabba the Hutt. So now the Breen definitely do not look like that. They have their own look about them, and I thought it was cool. It definitely has little like hints of what they used to look like, and now it's just really updated and looked really cool. I also like how the Breen tied into the story of why Maul and La'ak are on the run, because all season we know they're running from something, but we had no idea what it was. And it turns out, yes, it is the Breen because La'ak is part of the royal family. You know, and the royal family thing, that's also a storyline that we hear a lot about in Star Trek. I know that Lower Decks used it for 2 crew members. Tendi is a part of a royal family, and then, the engineering guy, I can't remember his name right now, he's also part of a royal family. So Star Trek is using the royal family thing a lot. There are a lot of royal families, I guess, out there in the galaxy. But I did like that we got to see the Breen, and that's kind of what I was getting into about what Star Trek Discovery brings to the table when it's at its best, when it can kind of fill in the blanks on certain things that we were not able to see when we first saw them. So when the Breen were first introduced, it was cooler just to have this air of mystery around them, but we never really knew what they looked like. And now with technology being what it is and CGI, they can do something really cool, not just with their masks and how they look, but what they look like under the mask. And the payoff was definitely worth it. And people complain about, you know, how when you change up an alien race, what they look like. I mean, Discovery has had plenty of times where they swung and missed. I mean, the Klingons were really bad when they were first shown on Discovery. And again, if you're going to razz a show when they do something bad, you got to say they did a good job when they did something good too. So in this case, I like their redesign of the Breen. I think it makes a lot of sense, and I like how it works into the story of the season. I also like the B plot line this week that saw Rayner bonding with the crew more. It seems like we're spending a lot of time with Rayner bonding with the crew after he didn't want to have anything to do with them. And to me, it kind of seems like they're setting up a sacrifice. Because you have to think about like some other cantankerous characters that we've had, like Hemmer from Strange New Worlds and Shaw from Picard. You know, at first, these are characters that you're not supposed to like at all. And the show spends time, you know, a little bit in episode here, a little bit in episode there, and it makes you really like these characters, and then they kill them off. And I feel like that's what they're going to do with Rayner as well. You could say that a character like Reno is a cantankerous character. She's more of a likable, unlikable character, if you know what I mean. So I don't really see her being in the same kind of group as Rayner, Hemmer, and Shaw. Again, Hemmer, Shaw, and Rayner are characters that at first the audience is not supposed to like. Reno is a character that the audience is supposed to like. And getting Rayner to a point where the audience likes him, boom, that's when you kill him off. I mean, that's basic storytelling 101. So I would not be surprised if Rayner is being set up for a big sacrifice before the end of the season. I kind of hope it's in the last episode because I really do like his character. I like what he's brought to the season and to the crew. He's definitely a foil to a lot of the, you know, uppity characters and the happy characters on Discovery. So I do like him, but I do think that he is being set up for a sacrifice. But all in all, I thought this was a good episode, although this season is starting to feel a bit formulaic, almost like a video game, like I said earlier. I hope there is a change of pace in the next couple of episodes. That's more, I guess, a critique on the season and not so much this episode, because the episode in of itself I thought was pretty good. But I do hope we get a change of pace in the upcoming episodes. So let me know in the comments below. Do you agree with me? Did you like this episode or did you not? Do you have a different opinion? I would love to know it. So let me know in the comments below. So now let's go over the Easter eggs for this episode. Of course, the episode was titled Mirrors, and I thought that this may be a play on the title of the Star Trek Original Series episode Mirror, Mirror, the first episode that introduced this alternate universe to fans. The Mirror Universe would go on to be featured in 5 episodes of Deep Space Nine, 2 episodes of Star Trek Enterprise, and at least 7 episodes of Star Trek Discovery. Many events from these episodes are also referenced in this episode of Discovery. So for instance, the ship itself, the ISS Enterprise, was last seen in the aforementioned episode Mirror, Mirror, and in that episode, the seeds of revolution were planted when the Spock from the Mirror Universe learned about the more hopeful and less MAGA Prime Universe. In the Deep Space Nine episode titled Crossover, it was revealed that while Spock was able to start a revolution within the Terran Empire, this ultimately led to their subjugation by an alliance of the Klingon and Cardassian empires. These events are also referenced in this episode of Discovery. However, since Spock's name is not referenced directly, Burnham is unaware that the Mirror Universe version of her brother is responsible for this revolution. Burnham and Booker also learn of a Kelpian slave turned rebel leader, which they surmise as being Saru. Much like how the Kirk from the Prime Universe influenced the Spock from the Mirror Universe, Philippa Georgiou also helped Saru become a leader after she returned to the Mirror Universe in the Star Trek Discovery 2-part episode Terra Firma. In that entry, Georgiou is returned to her original home in the Mirror Universe by the Guardian of Forever, and while there, she is able to embolden their Saru, and we see that this eventually turns him into a leader for the Terrans. This episode ends with the ISS Enterprise being taken back to the Prime Universe and then taken to Starfleet headquarters for study. This is oddly similar to the fate of the USS Defiant, which ended up in the Mirror Universe and was then confiscated by the Terran Empire there, events seen in the Star Trek Enterprise episode titled In a Mirror Darkly. The other big reveal in this episode of Discovery was that for the first time, Star Trek fans got to see what a Breen looked like behind their mask. The Breen were first mentioned on Star Trek The Next Generation, but did not appear until the Star Trek Deep Space Nine episode Indiscretion. In that episode of DS9, a character stated that no one had ever seen what a Breen looked like and lived. When Booker catches up with Mull, he says that we are not so different, you and I, which was also said by Dr. Evil in the first Austin Powers movie.
We're not so different, you and I.
See, I did say that.
Before leaving with the Enterprise, Booker suggests saying hit it, to which Burnham replies, let's just fly. Hit it is the infamous catchphrase of Captain Pike, while let's fly has become the catchphrase for now Captain Burnham. Finally, this is the second Discovery episode in a row not to feature Doug Jones, although, as in last week's episode, the character he plays, Saru, is mentioned. Well, that was everything that I saw, but let me know in the comments if I missed anything. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like button if you have not yet, and I'll see you next time on What Did I Miss?